Kirsty's final story. In 2021, just after a year of lockdowns, Kirsty found a lump under her left arm. After numerous tests and months had passed, the lump started off the size of a golf ball and grew to the size of a rugby ball within 4 months before doctors were finally concerned. After originally being told it was nothing to worry about, Kirsty was eventually diagnosed with a soft tissue sarcoma cancer, which was an MPNST. Luckily, it was caught in time as she had to have surgery. She was not bothered one bit that she had to lose her triceps. Kirsty even said to the doctors, "Just take my arm off, as long as I get to live a life, I do not care." After consultation with Kirsty, most of the upper of her left arm was cut away. Kirsty just wanted to live a long, happy life with her new family. The surgery was a success, and after 6 weeks of intensive radiotherapy treatment and plenty of recovery time at home, Kirsty was back to work within 8 months. She never let anything knock her down or allow her new life change to get in the way of how she lived her life. She continued to be the Kirsty we all knew and loved, was still going on the roller coasters with me, enjoying spending some quality time with her new family, going on adventures and exploring. Even after all what Kirsty had been through, she continued to smile and have a positive outlook on her life. Kirsty enjoyed spending time at home, bringing up Thomas and bonding with her bundle of joy, watching him take his first steps, watching him eat for the first time, making him belly laugh. She absolutely loved being a mum. She was a natural. We used to love our Sundays together, going for walks in the park with Thomas and looking in all different shops up and around London, and just generally enjoying family life. In 2022, this year, Kirsty was continuing to live her best life. We visited Butlins in June for a nice little family break with Thomas and my mum. She absolutely loved it. In August, Kirsty began to feel unwell and had been complaining of back pain. Initially, I had thought it was due to an injury she suffered. We were to be completely wrong. Kirsty was a healthy person. She did not smoke and rarely drank. She only had a genetic condition called neurofibromatosis NF1, which did not affect her day-to-day life. Kirsty was due one of her checkups at the Royal Marsden Hospital, which she was receiving on a regular basis. So we waited to visit the hospital. Upon visiting the hospital, Kirsty went for her regular X-ray scan. After the scan, the radiographer rushed over to Kirsty and asked if she had an appointment for the clinic today. From that point, we just knew something was not right. We waited in the room for the results. At worst, in our minds, we were thinking was that it would have been her breast, as Kirsty was complaining of a burning sensation in her breast and complaining that her hands and knees were hurting. So, in my head, the worst possible scenario I was thinking is that she would lose her breast and Kirsty would be able to continue the life she loved. It was even worse than what we had feared. There was a shadow found on the top of Kirsty's right lung, and Kirsty was booked in for an urgent CT scan the following week. We both went for her results on the 8th of September, and it was the news we had feared the most. The cancer had returned, and a 9 cm tumor was found in Kirsty's right lung, and she was given a prognosis and was told the lung cancer is incurable and she only has 12 to 18 months to live. We both broke down in floods of tears, and the first thing I said to her was, "We need to get married." After the initial shock and heartbreaking news, I knew I had to be strong for her. She just kept saying, "I am not going to get to see my baby grow," and I said, "Let's not think like that. You have fought this once, we can do it again." After originally being told her diagnosis, Kirsty was awaiting to be sent to have a camera on her lung to see what was going on and how they would be able to proceed. Things just seemed to be getting worse by each day, and every time we was given an update it would be worse. The tumor that was inside Kirsty had been bleeding internally. This had caused her lung to collapse, and 1.5 liters of blood was drained off of Kirsty's lung. I remember going home the first night after spending the rest of the day with Kirsty, thinking, I do not know what I am going to do. It felt like I was having a nightmare, and that any moment I am going to wake up and everything will be okay. So God only knows what she must have been thinking. I did not really sleep that night, and on the 9th of September I decided to create a GoFundMe page to help fund our wedding, as we did not have the time or money to save for a huge wedding, as we did not want a registry office wedding, because Kirsty deserved the absolute best. Within 8 days we had managed to raise £10,000, and thanks to the kindness of family and friends I was able to give Kirsty a magical day we would never forget. Originally, I wanted us to get married in Disneyland Paris, as that is where our love for one another was truly born, and it holds a special place for me and Kirsty. Due to how sick Kirsty was, I eventually came to the realization that this was not going to be possible. Me and Kirsty had received more devastating news that the cancer was worse than originally thought, and she had now only been given a few weeks to live. The cancer Kirsty had was very aggressive, a grade 3 soft tissue sarcoma, and the tumor had doubled in size to 18 centimeters in just 2 weeks. The cancer had also spread to the whole of her lung chest cavity wall, and pleural effusion. The cancer had metastasized. It was only 3 weeks before this we was all on the beach enjoying our family life. My auntie Becky came into Kirsty's room in the hospital and said the family wants to help plan our wedding. A WhatsApp group was created, and within 10 days we had created a wedding. It was like don't tell the bride. Even though Kirsty was extremely sick, she still wanted to carry on as if nothing was happening. I asked the girls to give her a hen night at the hospital, and I had a stag night with friends. The family originally did not want me to worry about anything, but I knew I could not just sit back. I had to give the girl of my dreams her magical day. Plus, I knew Kirsty best, so I wanted to make sure everything was exactly right for her. I managed to get on board and help to create the most magical day. Thanks to family and friends, we had our wedding on the 2nd of October. I will never forget Kirsty's face as she came into that room. We had brought Disney to her, and she was in awe of our special day, and even though Kirsty was in pain, she put on a brave face even to make it to her wedding day. After the day and seeing the smile on Kirsty's face, whatever news she was receiving, I would put on a brave face for her and help her keep her mind positive. In the 6 weeks Kirsty was in hospital, I was by her side day and night and made sure she had all she needed. Thanks to the GoFundMe, I was able to keep Kirsty positive and got Kirsty whatever she wanted and told her, whatever you want, I will get it. Even if I had to travel to get whatever she wanted, it did not bother me. My focus was keeping Kirsty upbeat and as positive as I could. Kirsty was eventually told there is nothing else the hospital could do for her, and we had to get Kirsty moved to a hospice near home. It was originally Kirsty's wish to come home and spend whatever time she had left at home as a family watching our 2-year-old son Thomas play. Kirsty was not able to come home due to how sick she was and due to not having the room for medical equipment at home. I was also fighting with the council to get us temporary accommodation. Unfortunately, Kirsty was not able to get this wish, but I had fought hard to try and make it happen, but due to various people in the council dragging their feet, it was too late. Towards the end, Kirsty told me I had given her a good life, and I told her I would make sure I gave Thomas a good life, and she knows he will be in good hands. There is a 50-50 chance that our son Thomas may have Kirsty's medical condition neurofibromatosis NF1 and therefore could need treatment 30 years down the line, but hopefully he will not. After Kirsty was told there is nothing else that the hospital could do, I was incredibly angry as she was only offered one course of chemotherapy and that is it. All this time I had been doing my own research and I had sent an email to Kirsty's doctors demanding why are we not doing any other types of therapy on Kirsty. I was invited to a meeting with the doctors, and after a discussion I was told that due to how rare Kirsty's type of cancer was, there was not much funding for it, so the doctors do not really know how to treat it and can only go on previous experiences. Only 3 to 4 people a year get diagnosed with Kirsty's type of cancer, so because it is so rare it does not get the funding and research it needs. On the 22nd of October, our Kirsty gave up her fight and lost her battle. Kirsty leaves behind a loving husband, a beautiful son, and our world has fallen apart. No child should have to lose their mum at such an early age. If there was treatment available, Kirsty would have had it in her to fight all the way, as she had everything to fight for and more. She absolutely loved the life she was living. After being told you have a few weeks to live, Kirsty managed to survive 7 weeks and had outlasted what doctors originally thought. Kirsty was an absolute warrior all the way through her diagnosis and treatment, and even though in her head she knew she was dying, it did not knock her down. She smiled all the way through and just wanted to carry on as normal. Her strength and courage had inspired me to fight by her side all the way. Me and Kirsty had also been hearing of many positive stories from many different friends and some family that had been through the same thing and had a positive outcome, so this helped keep Kirsty positive and continue to fight. By the end, Kirsty was too weak to move her own body and could not speak due to her body only operating on half a lung. She went down fighting, managing to say a load of things to myself and family as she was surrounded by the people she loved when she passed. Kirsty has inspired a lot of people the way she handled everything, and it is now my job to be her voice. Kirsty should have been given a fighting chance to be able to continue the life she loved, to grow and make precious memories as a family of 3. We were planning on eventually moving into our own home as Thomas was getting older by the day. We also wanted Thomas to have a brother or sister, as we both wanted another baby. Kirsty still had her whole life ahead of her. She wanted her own home with a Disney kitchen and a Harry Potter themed bathroom. She wanted her own family home. Kirsty wanted to continue to travel and make many more memories as the years passed by, watching Thomas grow and visiting various places together. Sadly, all her hopes and dreams have been banished, all because there is not enough research on her condition and the rare cancer that she had. Kirsty should have been given the fighting chance she deserved, but due to lack of funding and research, this was not possible. I will not back down. Someone has to stand up and speak out. Something needs to be done, as there is going to be other families out there, other people's hopes, and dreams dashed at such a young age. This cannot continue. When Kirsty was alive, I promised her that I would fight in her name to get the awareness her cancer needs and to help raise money for the charities which helped us. I have already managed to get our story published in the national and international press, and will continue to do what I can within my power to help raise awareness. Next year I am planning to set up a fun run which will be around 21 miles and run from the different theme parks we used to love visiting on our fun family days out. The event will be called Kirsty's Promise. I am doing this in honor of Kirsty and will be setting up a huge social media campaign to get as many people running with me as possible to help get funding it so desperately needs. I hope to see as many people there next year as there is today to help me continue the fight in Kirsty's name. I am hoping to set up the event by the end of May. Even if you cannot run, just taking part would mean a lot to me. Walking the last mile or even just being there for support. We will be her army. I now need to make sure our son has a good life, and he will remember how his mum was so incredible and how much she loved him. I have over 30,000 photos for Thomas to look through and plenty of videos, so he will not forget his mum. The fight will continue. I will not stop until something is done. Kirsty had the strength to continue, and she has now passed that strength on to me. If I do not make a stand, then no one else will, and this will continue to happen to many more families. It is time to raise awareness and fight in Kirsty's name. What I have learnt in life is to grab hold of your dreams and make them happen. As you can see, life really is too short. Don't hold grudges, be happy and be free. I hope to see you all next year. Thank you.